Hello everyone, welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name is Rachel. Let's talk about why your resin isn't curing properly. UV resin is one of those things that became hot and just kind of overtook the crafting market and hasn't really slowed down. There is just so much that you can do with resin, from sealing projects to creating things out of scratch to adding it to create this wonderful glossy effect. You can literally do so much with UV resin. The sky is the absolute limit and we absolutely love it. So let's talk about why your resin isn't curing properly. This is a question, or rather a concern, that we hear about all the time, and there are several different reasons why this can be happening to you. So let's go over those. Before we jump into the video, I would love to welcome you to Oak and Lamb. We are an incredible digital community where you can come if you have a Cricut, if you like to use UV resin, if you do sublimation, if you sew, if you do woodworking, you name it. If you have a wonderful crafty outlet, you would love the community that we have built at Oak and Lamb. Not only do we have over 1,000 digital cut files, all with a free commercial use license, but we also have a Facebook group exclusive to members, which everyone absolutely loves. That is a place you can go, post pictures that you are proud of your work, ask questions, ask for help, and just really have that community at your fingertips to be able to not feel so alone in the world of crafting and to really lift you up and inspire you every single day. It is our goal here to make you a more confident and well-rounded crafter every single day, and we cannot wait for you to join. Use the code JINGLE, J-I-N-G-L-E, at checkout for $45 off your annual membership with us. That rolls over not just this year, but every year you stay with us. It is grandfathered in. You cannot find this type of a discount any other time of the year with us. This is a phenomenal code, so definitely take advantage. You will absolutely love all the perks in membership. If you happen to have a Cricut, we do have some incredible beginner courses to teach you everything from opening the box to mastering design space, you making your first projects, and more. You'll absolutely love the member-only content and instructional videos we have, and so much more. Join today. You will not regret it. Now, let's talk about UV resin. Why isn't it curing? What can I do to prevent this? What can I do to make sure this doesn't happen in the future? So let's go over a couple of things that you absolutely have to make sure you do in order to get success when using UV resin. Number one, have a good quality UV resin. Now, good quality does not mean the most expensive. Now, with weighing AB part resin, which is like an epoxy, you mix the parts together, versus UV resin, which is all in one, which cures not by time, but by UV rays. That's what cures it. The UV type versus the epoxy resin type is much more expensive. We have found it is way worth the cost. So if you're looking for a great one, we have probably tested 15. This one always comes out on top, whether or not the price is better, quality is better. This one always comes out on top. Now, sometimes quality can be like even on some of them, but this one ends up being cheaper. So this is J Diction UV resin. Go ahead and buy the huge bottle. You will thank us later. It's this bottle versus this bottle. This is 500 grams. This is 100 grams. Go ahead and get the 500 gram bottle. We go through it all the time, but a good quality resin is going to make or break the difference for you. If you don't have a good quality resin, that is your entire base of your project. You're not going to have a good project. It's not going to cure properly. It's going to be yellow. It's going to be bubbly. It's not going to look good at all. It might even crack over time. We don't want that. You want a good quality, crystal clear, bubble-free resin. Now, I say bubble-free, but there are some things that you can do to minimize that as well, which is don't shake the bottle when you use it. You move slowly with the bottle. Don't like squeeze it like a maniac, because you're going to add bubbles into your silicone molds. Just go very slow, intentional movements. It's not about the race. It's not about finishing the race super quick. You're just slow and steady wins the race there. So get a good quality resin. J Diction is the best. Absolutely the best. We've tested so many UV resins. It's the best. The next thing that you want to make sure that you have whenever you're using UV resin is a good light. So these two are from Let's Resin. They are so stinking cute. This is a 360 So top and bottom lights here, we have this one, which is the top lights, which is the most common type. We will be doing a review video on these, so stay tuned, keep your eyes peeled for that. But you want a good quality light, so you want a really good LED plug-in light. Don't use anything battery powered, trust me. Learn from our mistakes on that one. We have used like a flashlight. We were changing those batteries every 20 minutes. Trust me, it's not worth it. Use one that plugs in, use the LED, make sure the wattage is really good. Now your resin will actually tell you what type of light does best with it, or it will tell you the cure time you will have to use with that type of light. So do take that into the account. Look at reviews on Amazon. Reviews matter a ton, so definitely check the reviews to see which does best for UV resin. A lot of them that you'll see on Amazon are those cheap nail lights for like manicures. Don't use that. Get something specifically for resin, excuse me. Or the absolute best way to cure your resin flawlessly is the sun, okay? The sun is the best way to do it. It's phenomenal. It takes no time at all. It is super, super efficient at what it does. Sometimes you'll find with these lights, if you don't cure it long enough, the top seems to be hardened, but the bottom won't harden. You're having to flip it over in the mold and try and hit it from another angle. It's a pain. Also, if you overheat resin, it will end up, I wouldn't say bubbling. I think the word is like doming. It'll end up doming if you kind of overheat your resin. Sometimes you can fix that while it's still warm. You can take it out really quick and kind of flatten it back down, but it will sometimes dome with that. So you want to make sure your wattage is good on your light. You also want to make sure you're curing it for the proper amount of time for the resin you have and the thickness that you have it. So a super thin sliver of resin is going to cure way quicker than a 1/4 inch of resin. Also, another thing you want to make sure is that you are taking into account if you're using any glitter or pigments or pearl powder or anything like that. With UV resin, it cures from UV rays penetrating straight through that resin. Now the resin's clear, so the UV rays can penetrate straight through. The second you add pigment, the second that you add glitter, the pearl powder, anything like that, you're making it way harder for those UV rays to get in between all of that stuff to cure properly down those layers of that resin. So think of it like that too. If you have a ton of glitter mixed in or a ton of opaque pigment, you are basically setting yourself up for failure. You're going to be lucky if that sucker ever cures. It's a little dance that you play. I don't want to scare you off from UV resin if you happen to be watching this and you've never used it. It is a phenomenal product. It is finicky. It is very finicky. But once you kind of learn the rules and you learn the do's and don'ts, it's really easy to navigate. But that's something that you need to know too. If you fill it with glitter and pigments, it's not going to cure well at all. Something you need to know. Now, we see this mistake all the time, mostly because people just don't really know, and that's fine, but your resin's not going to cure well unless you have clear silicone molds. These are clear silicone molds. Don't buy baking molds from Amazon. Don't use the ones from your kitchen for cupcake liners that are hot pink or purple or black or what have you. We talked about those UV rays. They're not going to be able to penetrate a thick amount of resin in a colored mold. In a clear mold, it's much easier for that UV resin to get in all those nooks and crannies and cure it. Now, patience is a virtue. Patience is really what it takes to let your UV resin products that you use yield professional looking projects. So patience, fill your mold really slow, make sure you're heating it on the proper wattage for the proper amount of time. Don't add too much glitter, pigment, etc. And if you do, add some additional time for curing if you add those things in there. Sunlight's the most efficient way to heat your resin. If you want to cure your resin really well, really efficiently, and really fast, go outside on a sunny day. Now, I would monitor, because if you take it outside and it's a relatively thin layer of resin, it's going to cure really quickly, because you don't want to lay it out there and then leave and, heaven forbid, a gnat fly in it or a leaf float right in your resin. You don't want to ruin your project. So stay out there, babysit it a little bit, and you're sure to have a successful project. But There are a lot of ways you can mess up resin, and I say that to defend you all out there who are watching this because it's an easy thing to do. There are so many do's and don'ts and tips and tricks in order to get this right, but the main ones, the main takeaway from this entire video, get a good quality resin, get a good quality light, and make sure your molds are clear. Read all the instructions properly. Know that if you add too much glitter, too much pigment, you're not going to get a good turnout with that, and have fun. And most of all, guys, give yourself grace, okay? If you're new to this, everyone has had these fails. If you think I'm sitting here and I'm like, I've never had these, but I've heard other people do it, I have literally made every mistake I've just told you about. How do you think I have learned all this? It's by making all of these mistakes more than once. So trust me, do as I say, not as I do, and you will have a super successful relationship with UV resin. We absolutely love it. We use it all the time, and we get itchy to start using it for something else in a new and fun way. So if you love UV resin, comment down below and let me know that. If you've never used it, go buy some. I will link all of this stuff down below. We absolutely love using it. You will too. Thank you all so much. If you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's free to do that. You will absolutely love the channel and all the content that we have for you. Ring that bell so you get notified when videos like this come out so you don't miss it. Like the videos, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And I hope that you all have a phenomenal day. If you have any questions, leave them down below as well. And don't forget to join the membership using that code JINGLE, J-I-N-G-L-E. You'll get $45 off your yearly membership with us. We can't wait to welcome you to the flock. Thank you all so much for watching. Happy crafting with your UV resin. I will see you another day for another video.